Picture the ocean as it has been for hundreds of millions of years. A vibrant, dynamic kingdom ruled by a dynasty of perfect predators. Sharks. They are living fossils, masterpieces of evolution that predate the dinosaurs and have survived every mass extinction event our planet has ever thrown at them. With silent grace, they patrol their domains, from sun-dappled coral gardens to the crushing darkness of the abyss. For 450 million years, they have been the balancing force, the silent architects of marine ecosystems, the very pulse of the ocean. Their presence is a sign of health of a world in equilibrium. It's a world we thought we knew, but now that pulse is fading. The architects are gone, and their kingdom is falling silent. Imagine diving into those same coral reefs, once bustling with life, only to be met with an eerie, unsettling emptiness. The great hunters are missing. The sleek shadows that once glided in the periphery have vanished. It's not just in one place. It's a creeping stillness spreading across the globe, from the tropical waters of the Pacific to the frigid currents of the Atlantic. The kings are gone. The question isn't just how anymore. The question is, what happens when a dynasty that has lasted for nearly 500 million years simply ends? Of course, we have our usual suspects. We point our fingers at overfishing, the abhorrent practice of finning, and the slow poisoning of our seas. And yes, these have all taken a devastating toll, bleeding the shark populations dry for decades. But what if that's not the whole story? What if these are just symptoms of a much deeper, darker sickness? Recent data suggests the rate of disappearance is accelerating far beyond what our own destructive habits can explain. It's as if something else has entered the equation, an unknown variable that is systemically and efficiently erasing sharks from the world's oceans. We're not just witnessing a decline, we're witnessing a purge. Without its apex predators, the ocean is already beginning to unravel. The delicate balance they maintained for eons is shattering into chaos. In the absence of sharks, the mid-tier predators, the large jacks, the barracuda, the groupers are running rampant. Their populations are exploding, and with no one left to hunt them, they have begun a feeding frenzy on an unprecedented scale. These once cautious hunters have become glutted tyrants of the reefs, their unchecked aggression turning thriving ecosystems into slaughterhouses. This is the first terrifying consequence of an empty throne, the rise of the opportunists, and the beginning of a cascading collapse. The terror trickles down the food chain, creating waves of panic. Schools of smaller fish, which feed on the algae that keeps coral reefs alive, are being decimated. They now face relentless pressure from all sides, with their predators multiplying unchecked. Their frantic, panicked movements are the last vestiges of a once-ordered system. As they vanish, the corals begin to choke on overgrown algae, turning vibrant cities of life into skeletal boneyards. Every link in the chain is groaning under the strain, and we are seeing in real time just how quickly a paradise can be lost. It's a domino effect of extinction, and it's happening faster than anyone ever predicted. This isn't a problem for the future. It's a horror unfolding right now. The ocean is becoming a landscape of ghosts, haunted by the memory of its former rulers. Scientists are scrambling, poring over data that makes less sense the more they find. The silence on their hydrophones is more terrifying than any monster's roar. What could possibly possess the biological specificity to target sharks, a group of over 500 incredibly diverse species, while leaving everything else to run wild? The answer doesn't seem to lie in any textbook or scientific paper. It lies somewhere out there, in the deep, and it's a mystery we are terrifyingly unprepared to solve. But humanity's role in this story might be over. Nature abhors a vacuum, and the most powerful throne on the planet is now empty. An ecological niche of this magnitude won't stay vacant for long. In the deepest, darkest corners of our world, far beyond the reach of our understanding, evolution is running on overdrive. The pressure is on, and something is rising to meet the challenge. The age of sharks is over, but a new age is about to begin. The question is no longer just what killed the sharks, but who or what is coming to take their place. The silence left by the sharks was the first sign that something was deeply wrong. But now that silence is being filled with whispers. Across the global scientific community, strange and unsettling reports have started to surface, like pieces of a puzzle nobody can solve. These aren't loud alarms. They are faint, cryptic signals from the heart of the ocean, hints of a new and unnerving reality taking shape in the depths. We've opened a case file on the impossible, a collection of phenomena that defy every law of nature we thought we understood. Each piece of evidence on its own is a mystery. Together, they paint a picture of sheer terror. Case file number 1 comes from orbit. Our satellites, which constantly monitor the ocean's surface, have detected something new: phantom blooms. These are not your typical phytoplankton blooms, the green swirls of life that form the base of the marine food web. These are different. They are colossal, spreading over hundreds of square kilometers in a matter of hours, and they glow with a strange, bioluminescent pallor that is visible even from space. They appear in nutrient-poor dead zones where life shouldn't flourish so explosively. Then, just as quickly as they emerge, they vanish without a trace. What kind of energy source could fuel such a massive, instantaneous biological event, only to disappear as if it were never there? Then there is case file number 2, the sound. For decades, a network of deep-sea hydrophones has listened to the planet's heartbeat, recording everything from whale songs to underwater earthquakes. But recently, they've started picking up a new signal. It's a low-frequency, rhythmic pulse, a complex call that has no match in any bioacoustic library on Earth. It is structured, almost mathematical, yet undeniably biological. Scientists have nicknamed it the hum. It doesn't stay in one place. It moves, patrolling vast, desolate stretches of the abyssal plain. Is it a language? A warning? What is down there, in the crushing blackness, speaking to the deep in a voice we were never meant to hear? Our most disturbing piece of evidence, case file number 3, comes from one of our own. A state-of-the-art remotely operated vehicle, the Odyssey 7, was sent to investigate the source of the hum at a depth of 4,000 meters. The mission was routine: collect data, film the environment, and return. But what happened down there was anything but routine. For hours, the ROV glided through a barren, featureless landscape of marine snow and sediment. The crew watched from the surface, navigating by sonar in the absolute darkness beyond the vehicle's powerful lights. Then the sonar lit up. There was a mass ahead of them, something impossibly large, bigger than a blue whale, bigger than any known submersible. The pilot, guided by the frantic readings, slowly turned the ROV's camera toward the anomaly. On the video feed, the vehicle's lights began to flicker erratically. Through the swirling abyss, for just a fraction of a second, the camera captured a glimpse of it. It wasn't a solid shape, but a form that seemed to absorb the light, a hole in the darkness, a colossal silhouette of something that had no right to exist. Before anyone could process what they were seeing, the video feed dissolved into a screen of screaming static. The audio was a shriek of electronic noise. Then, nothing. The multi-million-dollar ROV and its kilometers of fiber-optic tether were simply gone. No wreckage, no signal, no trace. Back on the surface, the scientific community is in turmoil, completely baffled. The data is so bizarre, so contradictory, that it has splintered experts into warring factions. Geologists propose exotic, undiscovered forms of cold seeps or volcanic activity to explain the energy blooms. Bioacousticians speculate about a new species of leviathan, a creature that has remained hidden in the abyss until now. But none of their theories can connect all the dots. How could a phantom bloom be related to a mysterious sound? And how could a sound be produced by a physical entity capable of making a submersible vanish without a trace? These are not isolated incidents. A global extinction event targeting a single, ancient animal lineage. Ethereal blooms of life visible from space. An intelligent, alien voice calling from the deepest trenches. A physical presence of unimaginable size and power. These are all pieces of the same terrifying puzzle. The evidence is undeniable. The force that so efficiently erased the sharks is not gone. It is growing, changing, and making its presence known. Our question has shifted from the horror of an empty ocean to the terror of what is now filling it. We are no longer just investigating an extinction. We are witnessing the birth of a new power. So the throne is empty. Who dares to claim it? When a predator as dominant as the shark vanishes, you might expect its closest relatives to simply grow bigger and take over. A larger tuna, perhaps, or a more aggressive billfish. But evolution is rarely so simple, and in the chaotic new ocean, the winning strategy might not be bigger teeth, but a bigger brain. We have been so focused on the vertebrates, on creatures with backbones like our own, that we failed to see the true contender rising from an entirely different branch of life. An ancient lineage of soft-bodied, tentacled geniuses, the cephalopods. Our first candidate is a horrifying upgrade of an already formidable predator, the Humboldt squid. Even before the sharks disappeared, these were the stuff of nightmares. Growing up to 2 meters long and hunting in shoals of over 1,000. They earned the nickname Red Devils from fishermen for their terrifying aggression and flashes of red skin when agitated. They are armed with powerful beaks, sucker-lined tentacles, and an intelligence that is profoundly alien. They can solve problems, communicate with shifting skin patterns, and exhibit a chillingly coordinated pack-hunting behavior. They were already a force to be reckoned with, held in check only by the larger sharks that hunted them. But with their primary predator gone, the evolutionary handbrake was released. The pressure that kept them smaller and more cautious vanished, and in its place was a vast, open opportunity. In just a few generations, we believe they have undergone a radical transformation. This isn't just a bigger Humboldt squid. It's a quantum leap in predatory evolution. Their neural architecture has become denser, their problem-solving abilities more complex, and their communication has evolved from simple signals into a true language. A language written in light and color across their skin. They have become something new, a collective consciousness lurking in the twilight zone. Imagine a hunt unlike any other. Hundreds of them, moving as one entity through the dark water. They don't need sound. They communicate through a silent, synchronized network of bioluminescent organs. Pulses of cold, blue light flash from one squid to another, forming a living neural net that stretches for a kilometer. They are exchanging complex information in real time. The location of their prey, its speed, its numbers. They strategize, assigning roles, forming inescapable traps, and hurting their victims with walls of strobing light. This isn't a frenzied attack. It's a calculated, intelligent, and utterly silent military operation. And then comes the final, terrifying phase of the hunt. As they close in, their skin erupts in a disorienting, hypnotic display, cascading waves of color, impossible geometric patterns, and strobing fractals flow across their bodies, created by their hyper-evolved chromatophores. This isn't for camouflage or communication anymore. It's a form of psychological warfare. The prey, be it a massive school of fish or even a young whale, is paralyzed by the mesmerizing, terrifying spectacle. It's a beauty that kills. A light show that precedes a storm of beaks and tentacles attacking from all directions with perfect, chilling coordination. This is what makes them such a profoundly frightening successor. A shark is a marvel of instinct, a solitary engine of destruction honed by millions of years of evolution. You can understand a shark, predict its behavior. But how do you predict a thinking, collaborating, distributed intelligence? How do you escape a predator that can analyze your behavior and communicate a plan to defeat you in seconds? This new cephalopod overlord hunts not just with brute force, but with a cold, alien intellect. It doesn't just kill, it outsmarts. They are the first credible claimant to the ocean's empty throne. A pack-hunting nightmare that combines the physical prowess of a predator with the strategic mind of a superorganism. They represent a fundamental shift in the oceanic power dynamic, from instinct-driven solitary hunters to a cooperative, thinking force. The ocean is no longer ruled by muscle and teeth alone. It is now under the dominion of an intelligent, silent, and deeply alien consciousness. And as we stare in awe and terror at this new dynasty, a horrifying question begins to surface. What if they aren't the only ones? Just as we wrap our minds around the chilling reign of an intelligent, tentacled collective, the ocean throws another nightmare at us. We were so convinced that brainpower was the heir to the throne, that strategy and coordination were the ultimate weapons. But in the brutal calculus of nature, there is another path to dominance. raw, unstoppable, primal force. While the cephalopods were plotting in the twilight zone, something else was stirring in the absolute blackness below, something ancient and hungry, something that has now decided to rise. Meet our second contender, a creature we've dubbed the Abyssal Ravager. This isn't a new species. In fact, it's a relic from a time before time, a type of deep-sea chimera or bony fish that has lurked in the abyssal plains for millions of years. It was never a hunter. It was a janitor of the deep, a scavenger that feasted on the rare carcasses that drifted down into the crushing darkness. Slow, ponderous, and blind, it was perfectly adapted for a life of patience and obscurity, never meant to see the sun. But the extinction of the sharks changed everything. Without sharks patrolling even the deep ocean, a major predator was removed. More importantly, the chaos in the upper ocean created a constant, gruesome banquet of carcasses raining down into the abyss. Fueled by this unprecedented bounty and freed from any threat, the Ravager began to grow, and grow, and grow. It has broken the chains of its deep-sea prison, ascending through the water column like a monster climbing out of hell. It is leaving the darkness it has known for millions of years and entering our world. To call its appearance horrifying is an understatement. This is a creature built not for speed, but for inevitability. Its body is covered in thick, interlocking plates of dermal armor, like jagged black obsidian, scarred from the immense pressure of its former home. It doesn't swim so much as it bulldozes through the water, an unstoppable mass of armored muscle. It carries the crushing weight of the abyss with it, a living fortress that simply cannot be stopped or harmed. Its very presence feels like a violation of the natural order. And then there is the head. It is a grotesque sculpture of function over form. Its jaw is not hinged like a normal fish. It is designed to dislocate and unhinge outwards, creating a cavernous maw capable of swallowing prey nearly its own size. And inside that maw are no ordinary teeth. They are rows of razor-sharp, crystalline structures, biominerals that are harder than steel. These teeth aren't permanent. They are constantly being shed and replaced from within the jaw, ensuring its bite is always perfectly, lethally sharp. It is a mouth designed to pulverize, to shatter, to utterly annihilate. Unlike the hyper-intelligent cephalopods, the Abyssal Ravager has no strategy. It doesn't need one. It is a brute, a walking extinction event. It moves in a straight line, consuming whatever is in its path. It doesn't chase or stalk. It simply plows through the ocean, and anything that fails to get out of its way is consumed. It is the personification of gluttony, a mindless, insatiable force of nature that has been unleashed from its cage. While the squids represent the terror of a cold, alien intelligence, the Ravager is the terror of a mindless, absolute power. This is where the mystery deepens into sheer impossibility. The rise of the intelligent cephalopods was a shocking but logical evolutionary step. But the simultaneous emergence of this thing, a deep-sea scavenger, suddenly transformed into a surface-dwelling apex predator, perfectly equipped for its new role, it defies all known principles of evolution. The timelines are too short, the adaptations too perfect. The statistical probability of two entirely separate and unrelated lineages evolving into ultimate predators at the exact same moment is effectively zero. It's not just unlikely, it's unnatural. It feels coordinated, feels designed. We have an intelligent, strategic predator and a brute force, unstoppable monster appearing together as if on cue. It's as if two different types of soldiers have been deployed onto a battlefield. This isn't a competition for the throne anymore. This is starting to look like an invasion. The horror is no longer about the individual monsters, but the chilling realization that they might not be acting alone. What unseen force could be directing this terrifying, two-pronged attack on the ocean's hierarchy? Two new gods of the ocean, one a thinking collective, the other a mindless juggernaut. By all laws of nature, they should now be locked in a titanic struggle for supremacy. When two apex predators occupy the same territory, the result is always war. But that's not what we're seeing. From the few submersible drones that have survived encounters, we get footage of something far more disturbing than combat. We see indifference. We have recordings of a pack of hyper-intelligent squid parting to let an abyssal ravager pass through their hunting ground, neither side showing any aggression. This eerie, unnatural truce is the most terrifying clue yet. The peace is more frightening than any war could ever be. This lack of conflict points to a chilling truth. They are not competitors because they are not rivals. They are two parts of a single, coordinated system, and the same force that created them is the force that annihilated the sharks. To understand this, we have to look at one of the strangest, most obscure corners of biology: horizontal gene transfer. Normally, genes are passed down vertically from parent to child. But in the microscopic world, organisms like bacteria can pass genes horizontally, sharing useful traits like antibiotic resistance directly with their neighbors. It's nature's ultimate cheat code. Now, what if that cheat code was used on a planetary scale? We now believe the agent of this change is a microscopic, parasitic organism, something akin to a virus or an extremophile microbe. Let's call it the Prometheus agent. This agent is a biological Trojan horse with a two-stage function of terrifying specificity. Its first directive was to seek out and destroy. We suspect it was engineered, either naturally or artificially, to identify a unique biological marker found only in sharks and their relatives, their cartilaginous skeletons. For all other life, it was harmless. But for sharks, it was an inescapable plague, a silent, targeted bioweapon that dismantled their dynasty from the inside out. But extermination was only half of its purpose. The Prometheus agent is also a genetic library. As it spread through the oceans, it didn't just carry a death sentence for sharks. It collected and cataloged the genetic potential of everything it encountered. It harvested the genes for neural complexity from ancient cephalopod lines. It copied the genetic blueprints for biomineralized armor and rapid growth from deep-sea extremophiles. It became a roving database of evolutionary advantages, a master key to life's building blocks. The agent cleared the board, then picked its new players. With the sharks gone, the agent initiated its second directive: creation. It began injecting its stolen genetic code into new hosts. It found the intelligent Humboldt squid and unlocked their potential, gifting them with the genetic sequences for hypercognition and coordinated bioluminescence. It found the lumbering, deep-sea scavenger and force-fed it the genes for armored plating and explosive growth, pushing it into a niche it could never have reached naturally. This wasn't a gradual process of evolution taking millions of years. This was a direct, targeted, and terrifyingly fast upgrade. This is the unholy alliance. The intelligent squid and the armored ravager don't fight because they are, in a sense, siblings, born from the same unnatural process. They are both products of the same external intelligence. Their simultaneous rise, their perfect adaptations, their lack of conflict. It all makes sense now. They are not the result of random chance, but of directed, accelerated evolution. They are the first two successful creations of the ocean's new, invisible master. The ocean as we knew it is gone. It is no longer an ecosystem governed by the slow, steady hand of natural selection. It has become a laboratory, and the Prometheus agent is the mad scientist. The sharks were simply the old, obsolete experiment, wiped clean to make room for something new. The horrors we see now, the squid and the ravager, are the new projects unleashed to test their capabilities in a new world. The final, soul-crushing question is no longer who will take the shark's place, but what is the ultimate goal of this vast, terrifying experiment? This is the new reality. The ocean is not rebalancing itself. The hope that a new, stable ecosystem would rise from the ashes of the old one was a fool's dream. What has emerged is a brutalist, chaotic dystopia, a world governed not by balance but by terror. The intricate dance of predator and prey that has defined the seas for millions of years has been replaced by a reign of two new, terrible gods. This isn't an ecosystem. It's a war zone, and the only law is the law of monsters. Life in this new ocean is a constant, desperate struggle for survival against two fundamentally different kinds of horror. From above, you are hunted by a thinking, calculating hive mind of cephalopods who will outsmart you, surround you, and paralyze you with hypnotic lights before they tear you apart. From below, you are pursued by an unstoppable engine of destruction, an armored behemoth that consumes everything in its path without thought or malice. There is no strategy, no safe place. It is a world ruled by cold intellect and brute force, a two-front war on all other life. We have journeyed from a simple, almost academic question into the heart of a biological nightmare. We started by asking why the sharks were disappearing, thinking the answer lay in our own destructive habits. We then followed a trail of whispers from the deep, phantom blooms, impossible sounds, and a vanished submersible. We witnessed the rise of two impossible contenders, only to discover the horrifying truth that binds them. A microscopic agent, a biological puppet master, wiped the slate clean and built its own monsters to order. It is a world we can now only observe from the fragile safety of a metal sphere. Imagine our last deep-sea submersible, the Witness, descending into this alien ocean. Outside its thick quartz viewport, the world is a desolate landscape of shattered coral and fleeing, terrified schools of fish. The sub's lights cut through the gloom, illuminating scenes of grotesque hunts and the colossal, indifferent shapes of the new rulers moving in the distance. The mission is no longer to study, but simply to see what our world has become. Then it appears. An abyssal ravager, 20 meters of armored death, is tearing apart the carcass of a whale. It moves with a sickening, methodical efficiency, its crystalline teeth shearing through flesh and bone. The crew of the Witness watches in horrified silence, their sonar screaming warnings. But then the creature stops. Its relentless feeding ceases. It slowly, deliberately turns its massive head, its movements impossibly fluid for something so large. Its eyes, two pits of absolute blackness born in the pressure of the abyss, fixed directly onto the submersible. In that moment, there is a horrifying spark of something beyond instinct. It sees the submersible not as a rock or a curiosity, but as something that does not belong, something to be erased. With a surge of unimaginable power, it pushes off the seafloor, its armored body a black torpedo aimed directly at the viewport. The jaw begins to unhinge, a cavern of shimmering, crystalline teeth opening to swallow the light, the submersible, and all hope. The last thing the crew sees is the onrushing, expanding void of its mouth, a perfect engine of annihilation filling their entire world. We asked who would take the shark's place. We never thought to ask what would. The age of sharks is over. The age of monsters has just begun.